Hey guys, Warwick here with a new meta top lane pick, Warwick with Smite. Now I know right off the bat that sounds kind of crazy, so what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to briefly explain how it works. I'm going to give you the pros and cons of playing this top lane Smite Warwick, and then I'm going to teach you a little bit on how to actually execute it and how to play it. The way in which Warwick top lane with Smite works is to utilize the skirmisher's saber in order to get really good trades off and to all-in people with your ultimate. For those of you unaware, skirmisher's saber allows you to smite an enemy champion, marking them for 6 seconds, meaning you take 20% less damage for them, and also giving your attacks on that target extra true damage on hit. The theory behind this really just lies with the fact that you can bully the crap out of your enemy laner whenever you smite them, and your smite only has a 60-second cooldown. Not only does it allow you to dominate enemies and win pretty much every single trade, but it also allows you to all-in people with your ultimate. The reason for this is because when you jump on an enemy with your ulti, you hit them 5 times, and those 5 times proc on hit effects. This means that you're guaranteed to get at least 5 hits with your skirmisher's saber, and that's not including the hits you'll be getting in before and after your ultimate. At level 6 you'll be getting 165 damage from your ultimate alone with your skirmisher's saber. In comparison, your ignite would be doing 170 damage, so it's pretty much the same. Then you also have to take account for the extra hits you'll probably be getting off, making skirmisher's saber actually deal more damage than the ignite, and the fact that it only has a 60-second cooldown instead of ignite's 180, and the fact that it reduces the damage you take from that target by 20%, and the fact that you're not just limited to using it in a PvP situation. It's quite clear to see why skirmisher's saber is so strong. Now that I've showed you the overview and theory behind this Smite top lane Warwick, I want to give you the pros and cons of playing it. Firstly, because you have Smite, you can take away a jungle camp at level 1, which will instantly get you to level 2. Don't worry about getting to lane too late and missing too many minions, because you'll miss around 2, maybe 3, probably even less if you consider the fact that the enemy will most likely be pushing your lane for that level 2 advantage. All in all, definitely worth it. Another positive is, like I mentioned, it becomes pretty much impossible to lose trades once you have your skirmishers. You'll also be able to decide when to go aggressive much more freely, because your summoner spell will have a much lower cooldown than that of the enemies. Your Smite also allows you to gather jungle monsters extremely easy as you're coming back to lane to give you that experience advantage. You can also roam and smite the enemy jungle camps to gain their Smite benefits. This is especially useful in their chicken camp, where you can smite it to stomp a ward and deny that ability from your enemy's jungler. So for some cons of this playstyle, firstly, if you take Ignite, then whenever you use it on someone, you are guaranteed to do that damage to them. With your Smite, if you don't hit them, you don't do extra damage. Secondly, and the most obvious downside, is that you have to buy Skirmisher's Saber in order to use it on an enemy. Not only is this gold put into the Skirmisher's Saber that otherwise would be put into other things, but Skirmisher's Saber doesn't actually give you any combat stats. You will be at a stat disadvantage when you buy Skirmisher's Saber, meaning at any times you're not smiting the enemy champion, it's times that that item is doing nothing for you. This can be a problem especially in the early levels if you find yourself being harassed quite a lot or being pushed into the tower, so you may need some help from your jungler to help pull you through that. In addition, sometimes it is tricky to do good skirmisher trades because as soon as you smite the enemy champion, they can just run away from you. The trick here is to find situations where the enemy can't just run away from you, or even if they do, they're still losing out. And finally, obviously compared to teleport, this option does not have as much map pressure. So there are the pros and cons, and now I want to go into some details on how I play this Smite Warwick so that you can then go into game and do the same. These are the runes that I decide to run with, and this is the mastery page that I prefer. You may have to pause the video to see this, or they'll be in the description as well. This is my typical 6 item full build. The main things to say about here is that I always get upgraded to Rune King. I like to go 40% CDR, and after that, mostly tanky. For skill order, I get my W at level 1 so that I can take away the jungle camp with my Smite. Then I like to max my Q, followed by E, then W. So for some tips on how to play this successfully, you want to start with a Doran's Blade and 1 potion, take away the jungle camp with your W like I say, and then go into lane. You'll be level 2, but you won't be too healthy, but luckily your Warwick here has great regen and sustain, so play a bit passive until you've got more health back. Your early game lane objectives are, like I say, to just play passive and farm up. You want to go back as soon as you've got enough gold to buy your Skirmisher's Saber. Warwick does tend to have some mana issues, especially if he's getting harassed quite a lot and needs to use his Q to heal up, so don't be afraid to buy some mana potions alongside your health potions. Once you have your Skirmisher's Saber and are around level 7 or 8, then you want to harass the enemy with your Q, getting them to around 70% health or even lower if you can, then smite the enemy, ult them, and kill them. Red buff is also amazing on this Smite top Warwick. Not only does it give you on-hit damage to make you do even more damage in your ulti, but it also slows the enemy down, meaning you can punch the crap out of them and get more value from your Skirmisher's Saber. You should also bear in mind that Warwick is much better in those smaller fights than full-blown team fights. Also keep an eye for enemy Quicksilver sashes and for the interrupts before you use your ulti. The last thing you want is to ult a target and instantly have your ulti removed. And also lastly, I want to mention about your jungle item enchant. Normally Devourer is extremely good on Warwick with Skirmisher's Saber. However, I choose not to do this because I don't feel like you're going to be stacking it too well. You can go if you want, however you won't get too many stacks. Instead, I just prefer to go Juggernaut and be really tanky. So that does it for my Warwick Top Smite video. I hope you enjoyed it and I hope you go in game and have a lot of fun playing it. If you do have some good games that you're particularly proud of, feel free to tweet me at FoxShopLol and share it with me. Aside from that, you can also find me on Facebook and catch me streaming on Twitch. Those links will be in the description, guys, but thanks so much for watching. Have a great day and I'll see you in my next video.